This is our second public hearing of the Commission on the 21st Century Economy. We welcome public participation in these sessions, and so the first item for us is to hear from anyone in the public that would like to make comments. With that, there's one member of the public, Michael Feinstein, is here, and he has some comments to make to this commission.
Good morning. I'm a former mayor and city council member in Santa Monica. I serve on SCAG's Regional Comprehensive Plan Task Force for several years and a co-founder of the Green Party here in California. A few comments on connecting land use, tax policy, and job creation. I know some of you have talked a bit about carbon taxes in the past, and I just want to encourage you to continue on that path. Carbon taxes as a form of true cost pricing send the right signals in the economy for every economic act that we take, and especially in this state, knowing that we have to go green anyway, carbon taxes will reward the green economic activity and people will profit by doing the right thing, which reduces the tax burden on the overall society by not externalizing costs. So it's really efficient. The other thing I really want to focus on is the land value tax that Henry George recommended. We've got a state where for most of the last few decades we've been growing in population, which increases the land value, but we socialize the costs in society, but we privatize the increased land value to the property owner that doesn't do anything to create that extra value. We had a speculative bubble just now in our society, in part because people believe they can make so much money on land, but the money they were making on land wasn't something that they were doing to deserve it. But it's because of population pressure or all the other nice things we do, parks, freeways, rail systems to improve that value of land. Pittsburgh has been the one city in our country that has looked at dividing the tax so that you increase the tax on land and you decrease it on buildings. That rewards the people who improve the land for what they did, which tends to be more of a center-right idea, but you're returning the socially created value to the society. That tends to not increase the price of land in the long run, which makes land more affordable, which makes affordable housing, more parks, open space more affordable as well. But in particular, the structural deficit that we have in the state and the fact that as we grow in more population, that the social cost of running the state are outstripping the income we get. If your tax system internalizes the land value increase that we are naturally having, then you're finding a way to keep pace with the infrastructure costs that you have. And now, in a time in our society where we have stripped back a lot of the land value, it would be a time, I believe, for you to instruct your staff to look at how, since we're really restarting from the bottom up again with where land values are, how such a system could be transitioned in. Just like we know if you put in a carbon tax, you have to figure a transition strategy. You can't just do it overnight or else you hurt business. It would be hard to do this. To keep the kind of protections that people like Joe Fox want to keep people still in their homes, but also make this work over time. And I would hope that you would give your staff direction to do that. Thanks for your time.
If I could ask one other question. At a previous meeting of the Commission, there was some discussion on the Commission with regard to a carbon tax, and I suspect that today there will be more. And one of the issues or observations or criticisms that's raised about a carbon tax, and I think there's solutions to this, but I think it's a legitimate criticism, is the regressive nature of the carbon tax. Let's say that you place that at the refinery level on gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Downstream from that, obviously, price of gasoline would go up X cents a gallon depending upon what you valued carbon at. But assuming that it does have this downstream regressive implication, does that concern you? And if it does, have you given some thought to what might be done to deal with that regressive?
Yeah, definitely. The approach to dealing with the regressive nature is to make it as an overall green tax shift where you decrease taxes on labor while you increase them on environmental costs. So a combination of decreasing the income tax and decreasing the payroll tax for businesses and you can do it in a revenue neutral way with the same amount of money that you do increasing your carbon tax. The red-green Social Democratic Green Party coalition government in Germany did that for several years when we were in power there. There's a track record. They did it with their payroll tax, their Social Security contribution there. So you can easily handle the regressivity. And again, that means if you want to make this cross-partisan and appeal to people across political lines, people on the center right who feel like we shouldn't be taxing work because you're taking away rewarding ingenuity, that's the word. Indeed, if you cut your income taxes, you are helping people, and cutting your payroll taxes, you are helping people work and keep what they're earning. But you're also doing it in an ecological context for the society, and they can go hand in hand.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We don't have much of a payroll tax in California, and I think that the federal government probably wouldn't much like us trying to usurp their revenues. So we're back to the income tax.
Yes.
Now, a lot of that falls on labor, a lot of it falls on capital, and some on entrepreneurial effort, if you want to distinguish that between the two, among the factors of corruption. So in the California context, what would you do? Just have a raise carbon taxes, collect the revenue, and have a proportionate cut in the income tax or something like that?
I would still try and find a way to reward small business. And, excuse me, and, being used to being in office, I would say staff, please look into what are the small ways that could, but I mean, I wouldn't want to just do it for the worker side. I think it makes sense to do a little bit in both. So I'd try to find out how you could also reward small business as well as income tax.